Welcome to Damsels in Dialogue, a podcast dedicated to female protagonists in fiction, film, and the stage. Co-hosted by Katie Zutter
and India Marie Paul. For the end of our third season, we are hosting our second annual Maiden Madness tournament. This year, our March Madness style competition puts the supportive sweethearts of Disney and Pixar animation head-to-head to see who will wear the crown.
This episode, we undertake the challenge of getting 30 sweethearts down to just 16. This is Maiden Madness. All right. I know you have all been on the edge of your seats waiting for Maiden Madness to come around, and here it is.
I'm so ready. I'm so excited to do a season dedicated to the sweethearts and to talk about all these men.
This is so fun because this is the first time we truly are, like outside of After Hours, obviously, that we're truly like diving into the men. And not all the men. We're only doing the sweethearts. So maybe, there was talks of like a dad off. So, perhaps.
Maybe we should do like an honorable mention of like good dads, like their favorite dads by the end if they haven't. Yeah.
But here, today is only for sweethearts, friends. Today is only for sweethearts. We tried to find all of the, similar to last year's Maiden Madness, we wanted to make sure that it was all humanoid. And we wanted to make sure that the relationship, there was, for the most part, enough screen time that we could validate their relationship, if that makes sense. So you will notice that there are some couples that do exist in the Disney lineup, but didn't interact with each other enough to qualify. And some of them we threw in because we couldn't not. And you'll know when we get to them, friends.
Yes. And these are based on the first movies. So we're not counting sequels or TV shows because like Rapunzel's dad's all in her series like crazy. But we can't. He has no lines in her movie. So, we just can't. And they're all different people too. So if there's a sweetheart that,
look at Flynn and even a big one that was more recent was Kristoff. Kristoff was huge with being very feminist and everything in that second movie. But they're both different people in their original creations. So do not feel bad. Do not feel bad.
Yeah, we don't judge any of these men. We are judging them.
We're only judging them from their first first incarnation.
Yes. We're not. Right. Some get way better as you go, but
yes.
First impressions. This is a judgmental competition about their first impressions.
Sorry, and I would love to mention something before we begin.
Yes,
we did a poll on Disney himbos, and I do want to give an honorable mention for someone who is arguably the most himbo-y of himbos from the Disney universe, who cannot be in this lineup this year because he is not a sweetheart of anyone. So I would like a moment of silence for our himbo Kronk.
Yeah. I would love to talk about Kronk, but he is not Yzma's sweetheart, everyone. We can't do it.
Alas. Spoiler alert.
Sorry. Oh, yeah. That's
so, sad for him. But for the himbos that did get voted on, because we have like an odd number of sweethearts to narrow down today, we cast a vote, and our two himbos that made it straight to the next round are David from Lilo and Stitch and Hercules.
Yes, they made it right through, so they're going to be in the Sweet 16, first two to make it. And then tonight we get to decide, or today, wherever you're listening, we get to decide who makes it into the Sweet 16.
I don't know why I did that.
We have
halfway out of my mouth and I already started.
We have a lot of things to get through, so we're gonna try. We created a rubric again this year just for the sweethearts, like we did last year.
This one was honestly almost harder than last year.
I think it was harder to really figure out what makes a supportive sweetheart, what makes someone a sweetheart. Like today, we get to focus on specifically like them as a person, like them as a sweetheart of a person.
Are they a good person?
Yeah.
Now, just to cover our other bases, we put, it's more along the lines of sweetheart, a good, thoughtful, like sweetheart. So there could be people who are still good people who maybe don't make it or have strengths elsewhere. You know, it's fine. Yeah. That doesn't mean you're bad.
Yeah. Last year we did heroine, so it was very based on heroism.
Yes.
This year, very based on the sweetheartnness of the men. Which is actually a really fun comparison that we are comparing women to like how heroic they are and then the men to how like sweet they are. So
I like it.
Breaking stereotypes. Love it.
So what side of the bracket are we starting on today?
We're going to start on the left and we're going to work our way down. Everyone get out your brackets and then we'll go to the right and work our way down.
Yes. Do we start off by saying who we think will be in the top? Let's say you don't need to like bring it all down, break it all down of what you think it's going to be, but maybe give me a taste of your like top.
I thought a lot about this and probably far too much. So here I will say who I love because I don't know if they'll make it or not, but I just like, I want to put it out there that I really love Flynn. I really love him. I love who he becomes in the series more so than anything.
Oh,
so like,
for sure.
For sure. I don't know how he'll do with his first movie. But the other one that I really, really love is another himbo. I love Tarzan.
Yes.
Like, I just fall in love with Tarzan as a sweetheart.
Yeah. I think Tarzan's going to do really well. I also think David's going to do really well.
I think David's going to do great.
I think Dave and Tarzan are, I don't know who's going to be on top, but I agree. I think Tarzan is definitely someone to be looking out for, guys.
Yeah.
Because some of them, it's very interesting because some of them, as they get more developed and the story is more about them, they have more negative things because there's more conflict. They grow as people, which is awesome, but it sways it a little bit down as opposed to some characters like Tarzan. And David, personally, I think he's hard to beat because his entire character is built to be like this.
Yeah, that's
true.
He's
designed to be like this. That's kind of, I think someone who I don't know how far they will make it, but was very impressed by them watching them in the movie. And I think they're going to be very interesting to see how far they get.
Yeah.
Is Felix from Encanto.
Oh, yeah.
I would be very interested to see because I think he is built similarly. Not as in they're the same person. They're not. They're not remotely the same. But I feel like Felix is also designed to be just so supportive to Peppa. And I'm very interested.
Well, speaking of Felix, we actually get to start with him.
Start it strong, friends. Felix versus Prince Philip. I am so sad. I don't think Prince Philip is going to make it. And I will say, to give Prince Philip credit, of all of these older movies, he did very well.
I agree.
He did very, very well. I was very impressed with him.
I agree. It was nice because we talked about Sleeping Beauty this season and just thinking about like the amount of stuff he actually got to do compared to the other original princes is
he just
pretty incredible.
He was given more. He's not gonna make it past.
No.
I was impressed with him calling up. My favorite line that I wrote was, "This is the 14th century," because he wasn't necessarily calling out sexism specifically, but he was calling out outdated
rules and
ideologies.
Expectations. And
I really like that.
Yeah,
I was like,
really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that a lot. I also enjoyed that in compared to previous princes, he did not just happen upon a princess and kiss her.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
He kissed her because Maleficent told him that is how the curse is broken.
Yep.
So I was like, okay.
You're not just randomly kissing people,
There we go.
You had chosen your... I love it. So Philip falls in love with someone in the woods. I mean, it's a day, so it's still like the romantic, fall at first sight, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh. I gave him 4 for loving because he's just ready.
Yeah,
he's ready. Yeah, he's there.
Same.
He accepts.
but he like goes in, tells the king of his country, like, hey, I met a girl in the woods. Bye. Out with your arranged marriage.
And the horse is like, yeah, sorry. This is it.
That's
Samson's like, I couldn't talk him out of it.
How romantic, He like gives up potentially like his dad being okay with things. Like it's just,
he's totally accepting. And the highlight for me was I did give him the only 5 he received from me was Selfless. And that was I feel like his D&D adventure.
Yeah.
Leaving the palace.
Yeah.
And fighting all these things. He protects the fairies quite a bit during that too, as they're like protecting each other, which I thought was very cool. It was never like, I'm above you.
Yeah.
they were very much working as a team, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, I was like, that's pretty selfless to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
For this girl you just met and that you just are wildly in love with. Like, very romantic. I get it. Yeah. So for me, he gets a 27, which is
nice.
Impressive.
Yeah, I got a 29. So I was right. I was right with there.
Where's it right on there? Yeah. He did great. I was like, heck yes. However, friends.
Yeah. What did you give Felix?
Felix got a 32.
He got a 32 for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 for loving.
Yes.
Rewatching bits. I love the amount of times that he checks in on Peppa. Yes. The amount of times that he looks at her as she is taking in a moment is really, really great. Yeah. So I was like 5. Yep. He spends his entire presence is either taking care of his wife's feelings, which is phenomenal, supporting her.
Yes.
Or punishing his son. So
yeah.
Which like I also gave him 5 for responsible because that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That's fair.
Like his shape-changing son. I'm sorry. That alone deserves a lot of respect for the responsibility that he has to keep that boy in check. On top of he's very responsible of Peppa, and they have 2 other kids as well.
Yeah,
and you see him bring in Dolores and how proud they are of their youngest son's stuff. So those are the 2. Oh, I'm just kidding. I gave him 3. I gave him 5 for kind too.
I see. That's funny. I gave him a 5 for respectful instead of responsible.
Yes.
Specifically because of the moment when he like applauds his son for keeping Abuela's seat warm, like where he like has taught, because he has passed on respectfulness to elders. I'm like, oh, then he like
Oh no, there's a lot. Yeah, I think a lot of things are interchangeable, but absolutely, he's. What were the highlights for you?
That was one of the big ones where like you see him having clearly taught his youngest son how to like do things for others and respect others and respect the head of their family and that kind of thing. So I think responsible and respectful, I can see how like that 5 can flip.
Interchangeable. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I agree. I agree entirely.
I was very impressed with the very short amount of time he is on.
Yes. Less than screen. 4 minutes, guys. He is on screen for less than 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And you can say all these things about him. Yeah. Like I gave him nothing less than a 3. Because he had opportunities to do all these things, and some of them were average. Yeah. 3, but some of them were excellent. Yeah. My favorite little moment is when she says it was my wedding day, and then he says it was our wedding day. And the best is he is looking straight, like off screen, like looking like he's thriving. Yeah. And Peppa is like side-eyeing him hard. Yeah. Hard when he says that. Yeah. Cracks me up. Me up.
It's really sweet. And the categories were, just to run down really quick, we got honest.
Oh yeah, we need to. Sorry about that.
I totally forgot to do that. Honest, moral integrity. We have kind, empathetic.
Yes.
Respectful.
Yes.
Generous with belongings or time. Responsible. Selfless. Self-awareness. And loving. So those are the categories we're going off of out of 5.
Yeah. So I think our first round, just because guys, we have a lot to do today, but don't worry, we're going to get through it. Yeah. First round, Felix. So we have Felix moving it on, and he will compete against David next week on Maiden Madness.
Unfortunately, he will be going against David, because I think that's a hard one. That's a hard one to go with.
Yeah. If anyone's up to the challenge,
I'm really excited to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. So, ooh. So now we go on to another that I'm so sorry. I feel like this one also has a very clear winner. The next up is Prince Charming from Cinderella versus Pacha from The Emperor's New Groove. Now, me personally, I forgot about Pacha. I knew he was there, but I forgot. And as a sweetheart, he has one of the highest scores for me.
You know what? He did really well. He actually, for me, matched Felix with a 32.
Oh, he got a 34 for me.
I love that. Yeah. Maybe I wasn't generous enough with Pacha.
I don't know. He puts up with a lot. Pacha, I mean, how many people would be able to put up with Kuzco's nonsense as much as he does? Like, I was impressed.
What a big test. Like, what a huge test. I think, here's where I think I probably could have given him extra points. I think generous with belongings and time. I was having a debate with Pacha of like, he is trying to get something, but he is also sacrificing his time and sacrificing his like poncho he gives to him. Like there are things that he does.
That was the big moment. So he only ironically, or not ironically, I don't know if that's not the right word. But Felix got more 5s than Pacha did for me. But Pacha did not get a 3 for me. Because all of these things, I think he does above average.
That's
like
fair.
the generous belongings. The average person who is angry at somebody may not ditch them in the woods, but would not give up their only to this person they're absolutely furious at. So he only got 2 5s for me. But across the board, I think as far as just being a big sweetheart, I thought he was a little bit of above average. But the 2 5s he got were honest, moral integrity, and kind, empathetic.
I gave him those, and I did give him a 5 for loving. But
I could see that.
It was one of those where like it's very small moments you get with him. Yeah. You know? So like maybe it's not enough. Maybe it's a 4 just because you don't get to see the breadth of it. Yeah. But the little you get like with his kids and with,
oh my gosh, he's great. He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Like it's, which is why we included him on this list. Yeah. We know that he does not interact with his wife a whole ton in this film, but what he does, you know exactly their relationship. And that's why he was on here. So he did excellent. Amazing. Now, Prince Charming, I to give him credit, he did do better than Snow White's prince.
Fair.
Still not great.
Fair, yeah.
Still not great. And I think I was too nice when filling this out.
Okay.
Because I gave him a 21, and I think I was too nice in doing that. So I gave him some of the, he did not get any 5s for me, but some of the higher things, which this was directly, you don't get a lot of it. You only get it from his relation with Cinderella. And this is where I think I went a little high. Okay. Was I gave him 4s in loving.
I did do that. Yes.
So, okay. So maybe I'm okay there because he is like loving. I don't think is too high because I do appreciate that this is from a scene he's not in. Yeah. But the king is talking about, he wants to fall in love. He wants to marry someone that he is in love with, not just to marry someone, which I did appreciate. So that 4 deserved. Respectful and honest moral integrity, I gave 4s to. And I don't know if that's too much. He may deserve more of an average for that.
I gave kind and empathetic. I gave him a 4. The others are 3s. The other 2s were 3s. Yeah,
I gave. He got 3s for the things that he was able to show for. Yeah. I gave 2 NAs.
I think I gave kind because of how the very vague montage of him spending the entire evening with Cinderella. But is that, I don't know, maybe that's just loving. Maybe that's loving.
I don't know.
That's hard.
Yeah, because it's respectful. I do love that he does not care where she comes from because he marries her still.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
And he obviously does not want to be there. He does. He straight up yawns and looks at his father
and tries to
right. But he bows and meets all the princesses. He still does it. Like he hangs in there. So, and his moral, I think instead of honest, I went more moral integrity. I like that he stick to his guns. I like that he was I really want somebody
it can't
who
just be
I love.
Anyone. It's,
So I did like those things. Everything else, like generous with her belongings, time, that is where I gave it a 3 because we don't see him give time to anybody but Cinderella. And he gives all his darn time to her.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
So that's why I gave him a 3 for average because even though we don't see him for screen time, he gives it all. When he is like, that one, she is mine.
That's true.
I want to get to know her. And it was pretty endearing.
Okay. So with that, I'm at 20 for him.
Okay. So we're about the same. Yeah. We're literally the same.
Yeah. We're on there. But Pacha, out of the water.
Sorry. Yeah. Pacha blew you out of the water. So we have our second going to the Sweet 16.
Yes.
Pacha. And who will be up against Pacha? Between
either Hector or Prince Adam. So Hector was really interesting because he's in so much of the film and we don't really get.
Yeah. And I can see that. He was hard too because what's interesting about him, which is kind of cool, is that he has been so wronged.
Yeah.
And has been trying so hard to just get back to his family and get back to Coco. Yeah. That's all he wants. Yeah. And which is very, very respectable. And you feel for him because and how they drop the story, it just opens it more and more and more because you think he's this terrible person. And then you meet him and you're like, what? So because he spends the entire movie desperately trying to get back to his familia. I did give him a 5 for loving.
I agree with that.
That's all he wanted. And it's such a beautiful moment in the end.
Yeah.
You know, when he's remembered, it's like, and the song, it's just great. It's just great all around. Now, for this specifically, because he is such a one-track mind, I had a hard time too. So I actually gave him 3s across the board for the rest of it because it wasn't like I couldn't be pulled either way.
Yeah.
Because he is so focused on that one thing. Which is fine. That's great for him. We love that. But for this specific bracket, it was hard to deal with. Yeah. So what were your highlights or downers for
my downer,
Felix? Or Hector, how am I saying?
I had the 5 for loving, and then I gave him 2 4s for kind and pathetic just because how he ends up treating, you know, his eventual great-grandson. I don't know I forget which one it is, but how he ends up treating him through it and how he grows with it. Self-awareness, I found him to be quite self-aware of his whole situation. And what's happening to him. So I gave him a 4 for that. I could see that bumping up just because he understands. I did give him a 2 for selfless because so much of it was like not in for the benefit of who he was using.
Yes.
So that was where he kind of knocked down, but everything else was
agree
3s.
that.
So I'm at like a 27 for him.
Yeah, 26.
For Prince Adam / Beast. How was he for you? Because he was hard for me kind of too.
This was tough. So, and this could be crazy. So going into this, I thought it'd be very easy to just be like, oh, they're great people. They're not great people.
Yeah.
But I think Adam is where I started to question myself.
Yeah.
Because agree. Adam, I went in order of when the movies came out, save for one. So all the ones before that were very solid, like one or the other. Whereas Adam and a lot of the characters after this go through huge journeys.
Yeah.
So I couldn't give, Prince Adam a 5 in anything because a lot of these things are the reasons that he was in the predicament in the first place.
Yeah.
So I had a hard time with that. So I'm very excited to talk to you about some of these characters.
Yeah.
So for me, his highest, I gave him generous with belongings and time. I gave him a 4.
I gave him a 4 for that too.
Because he is pretty, once she's there and he's been kind of like talked off the ledge.
Yeah.
From his anger issues.
Yeah.
He truly lets her go everywhere.
Well, yeah.
He asks one request, please don't go to this one place.
He gives her a library, so I can't not give him at least a 4.
At least a 4. Yeah. Agree.
Agree.
I did give him though a 1 for selfless.
That's why I was like debating because I ended up with like a 3 because he does let her go, even though it's definitely not.
Sure, for sure.
But he's in this whole predicament because he's
let
selfish.
Her go more of a kind.
I don't know.
That's
it's
tricky.
Debating. It's so hard because
he's really low for me right now. He's like 22 for me right now, and I'm very scared for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm at like a 28 for him.
Okay. So let's see where we.
Yeah. I gave him a lot of
first tricky one, guys.
I gave him a lot of 4s, and so I can be talked down because I started really debating on a lot of things like belongings for.
I'm not sure either.
Honest moral integrity, I gave him a 4.
Okay, why? I gave him a 3. So why did you give him a 4?
I gave him a 4 because at no point does he ever lie to her, and he does try and do the right thing. Maybe that's where the selflessness comes in. Maybe because he does do the right thing when her dad is in danger.
And he does go out to save her.
He does go out to save her, even though he could just let her go die. Like that.
Because at that point, he had already resigned himself to be dead.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad that he multiple times during this movie, he's like, I guess I'm dead now. This is one of them. Yeah. So do I move is that selfless? To go out and do that? Is that the right for it, or is it honest?
The wolves are kind of selfless. Like he strictly puts himself in danger.
So I will move my 1 to a 2.
That's fair.
Because I think that has moved me up at least a point. We'll see if it goes anywhere else from there.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of 3s. I have 1. I have 2 2s because I gave him a 2 for self-awareness, but I think I'm not mad about it. Yeah. I gave him a 2 because he understands the situation.
Yeah.
But he has no idea how to make it happen. And maybe that's different. Maybe I'm misconstruing self-awareness.
Well, I think I gave him
about it.
I gave him a 4 for self-awareness because there's that sense of like, who could love me? Like he sees who he is, who he thinks he is, and who he has become. There is a weird sense of like acceptance of his fate. But I did give him like a 2. Maybe I could be talked to a 1 for respectful. because he has
respectful. I gave him a 3.
You did? I gave him a 2 for respectful. Yeah.
I mean, it's not that far different, but
he never
what are your thoughts on that?
He never treats her like shit, but like it's like the yelling, like he is unable to be
right
to approach a situation without like anger or yelling and stuff.
And this was one of the circumstances that I gave him a 3. Same with kind and honest. And honest, maybe I should move it because you're right. He doesn't lie. He doesn't do any of those things. Yeah. But kind, empathetic, and respectful, for sure, I gave him a 3 because at the beginning, he is one end of the spectrum. And by the end, he is all of those things. He is so kind to her. So that's why I kind of met in the middle at a 3.
Yeah.
For those 2. Moral integrity, I agree with you. Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. That does bring me up to a 25, but Hector is at a 26. So currently Hector is still beating him. Adam goes through so much, and what he is at the end, where like it's a big deal that he doesn't kill Gaston. Well, those kinds of things are huge because he was truly a beast, like literally a beast. Yeah, at the beginning of this movie. So I do appreciate where he's come from.
Is that like the kind? Like, is that where if he chooses to not kill someone who has literally shot him?
Does that bring it up from average?
Maybe.
Because he
has a little bird, you know?
Yeah, he doesn't let her say goodbye to her parents, her dad rather.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But he does decide, with a little coaxing, but decides to put her up in a room and give her space. And then as you see them fall in love from the montage, you don't see him forcing anything. It's just kind of like slowly them happening to come along. So is that kind of effect, does that go up a little higher then? Does that go to a 4 or is that still average?
If we spend half of a movie with him becoming a very kind and empathetic human being, maybe that bumps him up to like above average, but definitely not a 5.
No. And that was the thing that I struggled with. I was like, I don't think any of these for me are a 5. Did you find a 5?
No.
Yeah, only because, and this is not a bad thing, friends. Yeah. Because this is his journey.
Yeah. I'm at 28.
26. Nice. So I believe I am tied with Hector.
Beast right now I have at 1 point over Hector. I have 28 to 27.
So before we declare it, let's look at Hector for a hot second. Give him a chance.
Yes.
Because I gave him 3s across the board. But I liked what you said about the selfless.
Self-aware. I gave him a 4.
Self-aware. Self-aware was a 4, which I really liked, but I think selfless, you gave him
a 2,
which I also really enjoy, but that still averages out to the same points to me.
Okay.
So but I really, really liked those. So I wanted to switch that.
Yeah.
Because I think you're right. You're totally right that he is very self-aware, but also it's so funny to me. His wife is there and he is so lost just as a person that he doesn't.
Has he tried
to bridge that? And she's so angry. Like, I don't blame her from her. Because from her side, that's terrible. Yeah. Like from her side, he left the family and never came back.
You would think in like death, maybe there would have been like one moment where like, okay, plead your case and then go away. But like, I don't.
He was scared of that.
Well, that's I understand that like one try, I'm like, nope, never doing that again. So
yeah.
I think I kind of gave him a 4, which is why he was at 27. Yeah.
So this is all, even if it sways one way, I'd be pushing another one the other way.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe he is just what was yours again? A 26?
I was at a 27 because I haven't popped down honest. Yeah, I haven't popped down honest moral integrity, which I could see that popping down to even.
Oh, but you gave it
I gave him a 3 instead of a 2.
Oh, and I gave him a 3 for honest moral integrity. Yeah. He has 2 for selfless for me. Everything else is 3s.
Yeah. So yeah, the Beast I have a 28 just because I was with the self-awareness. I definitely think that he is aware of his situation after having to think about it for forever.
That does make a lot of sense.
So he has
I was pretty hard on him too.
Well, it's hard because the beginning he's such a dick. So it's really hard. Unlike we'll get to Naveen, who's a dick at the beginning and grows. I don't think it's the same kind of growth. So,
no.
I think he does grow.
The story isn't supposed to be about him, whereas this one is truly a story about both of the characters, which makes it kind of beautiful, and why Belle also made it very far last time.
True.
True. It was very interesting. So for the final verdict, I have a tie And so the tiebreaker is going to India, who goes on.
So that would be Adam for me, I think.
All right.
He shows enough growth
by,
in it that he gets.
But we will remember you, Hector.
Yeah. I don't think Pacha and him are going to have quite a face-off in the next thing.
I'm very excited. What? The most random face-off? I never thought that would happen.
I didn't either.
Here we are.
Yeah, I love it.
But here is... this is going to be a fun time for everybody. Here we talk about Carl from Up and Mariano from Encanto. Now, Mariano from Encanto, just because it's going to be as sweet as he is, short and sweet. One of my favorite things he says, which I think says a lot about him, is I have so much love inside. I just have so much love inside. What I love about that quote, besides that it's sappy and ridiculous and he's literally crying on their doorstep, from his still broken nose, or with his still broken nose, I love that he says, I just have so much love inside. It's not, I need someone to love. It's not, I need to give someone love.
Not to give.
He has so much. He has so much love. And I kind of really like that about him. I didn't think it was like selfish or anything. I just love that he is just full of love. You know, and we do get, I was surprised because I thought I was going to have to NA most of this. But we get a little bit from Dolores, who knows everything and hears everything. So for me, I'll just give you all his stats because it's not many. He got a whole 14. Which for NA, half of the stats, impressed her. Kind, empathetic, and respectful and responsible. I gave him 3s for all of those because he takes care of his mother.
You know, that's
and I really appreciated that. I thought that was at least bare minimum average that he does take care of. We don't know anything else about it, so maybe he goes above and beyond. But from what we learn, I gave him a 3 because I'm like, you know, take care of your mom. That is very kind of you. That is very respectful of your elders, and that is very responsible of you. Great, love that. But for our loving man, 5 for loving, 10 for loving, 30 for loving.
That's. You know what? That's fair. I could give him a 5 as his one trait that he gets.
That is him. He is only loving. But yeah, so he got a 14. Yeah, honestly, it was higher than I thought.
You know,
But because I listened to what Dolores said, I was like, okay, we can give him some more because there was NA for everything else.
Yeah, that would put me at a 15 because I gave him a 4 for respectful.
Ooh, which I also could see. Yeah. He does handle the family dinner incredibly well. I could, you know what? We will give him a 4. I absolutely, yes. Yeah. Yes, 15, my good sir. Yeah. And your slow walk, 10 out of 10.
It's amazing. Yes. That gets the 10 out of 10 for you. I'm really interested in how Carl was very hard for me.
Carl is so interesting to me. He only got 1 5.
Yes.
And Carl also has some similar problems to Prince Adam.
Yeah.
Where he does start at the beginning as a totally different human. You see him go through multiple life journeys where you see him be this shy, maybe friendless person to this whirlwind, amazing, one of the best romances possibly of the Disney franchise.
Yeah.
In a 5-minute montage. Stop.
Yeah.
Like the devastation of losing her and losing
Pixar, Disney, children. What are you doing? Amazing.
Fun fact about this movie.
Yes.
I saw this with my brother because no one else would come see it with me.
Great.
And my brother just put up with me and went to it. He cried during this moment. I did not. He cried a little bit.
I bawled.
And then the second part, where the page turns, and this is where his life changes again. His life changes so many times. This poor man. And he sees, and Ellie's kind of given him the go ahead to live his life and find a new dream and all these things. That moment, my brother looked at me and touched me and was looking into my soul like, you're crying too now, right? Yeah. We were both just sobbing together in the theater.
It's a lot. I feel like I know him so much from that moment. And then you spend the rest of the movie in this cynical,
but you feel for him. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, in a similar way, I couldn't give him a 5 for anything except for the difference was I did give him a 5 for loving.
I did too.
The reason I did that, thank you.
Yeah,
I think he did everything because of her.
Yeah,
and when you are in his circle, when he respects and loves you. His heart is so big. The way he adopts all those dogs. And generous with belongings, I had a really hard time with. Because at first I'm like, okay, the entire first half of the movie, it's 1.
I gave him a 2.
He is so angry. I gave him a 3.
Okay.
Because not only did at the end, he reversed all those things by opening the house and taking everybody in and all those things. He did go to the scout meeting, which was adorable. But the thing that gets me the most, possibly in almost the whole movie, is when he does not give him the regular badge and instead gives him the Ellie badge.
You know what? That's fair.
That's his most, that's his most prized possession.
Yes.
That is the start of the relationship that forever changed his life. And he is now passing that off to somebody else. That's massive.
I can bump that to a 3.
So that's why I gave it a 3. That moment, if he wasn't such a turd at the beginning of the movie, that moment would have deserved, like that moment alone, it's like a 5.
Yeah.
But because he's such a turd in the beginning, I gave him only a 3. I also gave him a 4 for honest and moral integrity because he is unabashedly himself.
True.
Does not apologize. Does not pretend he is not.
Yep. I gave him a 4 for that. So yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Is it good honest all the time? No. But is he honest? Yes.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I ended up with a 27 for him.
I also gave him a 27.
Well, there you go. It's settled. He's a 27, and
he's a 27. Look at that, guys.
Definitely bypasses Mariano.
Yeah, he does bypass our Mariano, but I can't wait to talk about him further.
Yeah.
I think he'll be really, really interesting.
Carl moves on.
Carl moves on, and let's see. Does Shang from Mulan or King Fergus? What is his name?
Fergus.
King Fergus.
Yeah.
From Merida.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was reading it and I said it weird. Go on. Who do you want to start with?
Well, so Shang got a lot of 5s for me.
Ooh.
And I could see how some of them maybe I was too generous.
He did pretty well.
You know,
he did pretty well for me too.
I gave him a 3 for kind empathetic just because he
I gave him a 3 as well.
Yeah,
he seemed pretty average.
It's very average in that. Self-awareness, maybe where I gave him a 4, but I think maybe a 3 for that.
So, okay.
Did you give him a 5?
So I gave Selfless, I gave 2. Not because I don't think
I gave a 5.
Is good for that. So, okay, so here are the flip-flops.
Yep.
I'll go first and then.
I'm so excited. You go.
So, I gave him Selfless or a 2 because not that he is not giving himself to his country, but as someone who is the son of a general, I think he feels very much this is his duty and this is a responsibility to China and to give back to his community and everything. So because it is such a duty, I did give him a 2. I could be talked up though very easily because duty, does that deserve all the way down to 2? Who knows?
Yeah.
Self-aware, I did give him a 5 because he fully understands who he is and fully understands where he fits in the world.
Maybe
the only time and even then he's kind of self-aware because he knows how awkward he's being. Like you can see in his face how awkward he's being. That's why I think I gave him
a 4, but you might be right.
For the end with Mulan.
Yeah.
Like you can tell he's uncomfortable and there's no way he doesn't know that he's uncomfortable in that moment. Like, this is not my bandwidth.
I could be talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I gave him a 5 for self-awareness and I gave him a 2 for selfless, but I could be swung a little bit. Why were your 2 the opposite of me?
But selfless was definitely like that. Even if he feels like it's what he was told to do or not to do, he does seem very proud to go into sure death. You know, like he does. He runs. Okay, so Mulan steals a cannon and heads toward the bad guy, and he just like flat out runs at her. Nothing out, nothing to help, and just runs to try and save her.
Yeah.
In the middle of this.
Who at that point is his friend.
Yeah.
His friend who he deeply respects.
Yeah. Not the smartest move, but he definitely ran into danger.
Okay.
So I could see 4 as like that.
Yeah,
a big
I think
moment,
I'm going to give him a 4 too. Because
Yeah.
that's that. Yeah, I could totally see that. So why did you give him self-awareness? What did you give him for that?
I gave him a 4, but I think it was purely for that final moment, and I think that was too harsh. I understand
I thought about it too.
Yeah,
because I'm like that final moment is tough, but I think the reason I gave him a 5 is because I think he knows the situation. Yeah. He just doesn't know what to do about it.
That's fair. Yeah, I think he does know how weird he is being in that moment. He's not blind.
And knows how weird it is to come there.
Yeah.
Honest moral integrity, I give him a 5.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That's his whole
his whole
jam.
Thing. Yeah.
Responsible. He is the most responsible.
Yep.
5.
Yep. Gave him a 5. What did you do with generous with their belongings and time?
I gave him an average.
Yeah,
because
this is not
I felt like it seemed he didn't do anything out of the realm, but he also, if people did want to talk to him, he wasn't like, get out of here.
Yeah, that's fair.
It seemed very, very average to me. And that's also why I gave him loving. I only gave him a 3.
I only gave him a 3 too.
Yeah, because you don't, granted, this is a very different scenario. I did give him a 3 because I think he's very caring.
Yeah.
Obviously he throws himself for
he loves his friends, yeah.
But you didn't get to see quite as much of the loving side. You see him devastated over his father, things like that. So but I still thought it was 3 levels. So total I have a 34.
I would have, with some of those adjustments, 33.
Ooh, yeah. He did very well for me, which is very impressive considering he is just the hero of heroes. And for him to show all these things, I thought was really, really great.
Yeah.
So
how is your King Fergus? What an interesting
King Fergus cracked me up. Overall, he only got a 23 for me.
That's close to me.
But kind of pathetic. I give him a 4 because I think he is very kind to his wife. I love his little talk with her.
I really enjoy that.
I think that's very sweet.
Yeah.
And I put that as kind instead of loving because I don't see a whole ton. There aren't a whole lot of fun love moments, so I actually want to give him a 2.
Really? Maybe I gave him, I ended up giving him a 4 for loving, but I could see maybe that's why I put it in there.
Maybe. I took it as kind, which is why I gave him 4. Honest moral integrity. He has his lines. He has them set. I gave him a 3.
Yep. That's fair.
I gave him a lot of 3s for things. I did give him 2 2s, 1 for self-awareness.
I gave him a 2 for self-awareness
we
as well.
love that for him, though. Yep. I'm not mad about it.
Yep.
And then 2 for loving. But I could be talked up for loving.
I gave him a 2 for responsible. Because I don't think he does anything responsibly.
I went back and forth. I'm like, is he a 3? I could be talked down. I could be, you know what? Let's get responsible. Who's really running? Who am I kidding? Who's really running the kingdom? Not him. He's not running the kingdom. His wife is running the kingdom. Let's be real. So I'm going to switch that. I'm going to give loving a 3. And I'm going to put responsible at a 2. Is he egging on his 3 boys who are causing trouble? Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Possibly egging on his daughter? Also, absolutely.
Yep. For sure. So I think that brings him
Do we still love him? For sure.
Yeah. That brings him to a 24 for me.
Okay, yeah. 23. I like point apart.
Yeah, great.
But unfortunately does not
make it through.
Does not compete with Shang. Wow, I impressed her.
Yeah.
Impressed.
Yeah. And it's Shang and Carl in Sweet 16.
What an interesting conversation. I cannot wait to have it. Oh my goodness.
Fantastic.
We have two more couples, couples, if you will, for the end of the left side of the bracket. So Aladdin and Roger, how did they do for you?
Aladdin got a 1 on honest for me because he just spends the entire movie lying.
He does. Yeah, I gave him a 2.
Yeah,
I gave him a 2, which is the lowest I gave him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That was my low one. I'm just
you're
like,
right.
I don't know.
He spends almost the entire movie lying to her.
Yeah. I did give him a 5.
He does apologize. I appreciated that.
Which
is why I gave him a 2 and not a 1. But
I gave him a I could see that. I gave him a 5 for kind and empathetic.
Ooh, I gave him a 4.
It was very much like the kids when he gives up his bread. You know, like there's just little moments that where you see it. So maybe
the diamond in the rough.
You know,
I also gave him a 5 for loving. So maybe did you
really?
Give him a
I gave him a 4. Yeah, I gave him.
So that's where we were.
Okay,
that's where we were. We're the same. It's just in different parts. Yeah. I agree. I love that. And I love how much love he shows to Jasmine.
Yeah.
Too.
I agree.
And she's not in the movie very much.
No.
So for him to you see that affection.
Yeah.
It was really, I liked it.
Yeah. You know, I think he was pretty respectful. Like he didn't do anything other than lying. Lying was the big one, you know.
I did a 3 because he does steal. He does essentially break into the palace.
Yeah, that is true.
He does. He is very respectful to Jasmine.
Yes.
You know, everything is very the waits for consent, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I gave him a 3. I could be tucked up to a 4 though.
I could see that on a 3. What did you do for generous with their belongings?
So I gave him a 4.
I gave him a 5.
The only thing he has is time.
Yeah.
And he has very little belongings and he immediately shares Stay with Jasmine.
When he gets magic belongings, it's just like given to every single person. So
yeah. And when he has belongings, kind of like what you said earlier with the kids, he immediately gives them away when they need it. So 4. This is great. High for me because he proves that. Yeah. Responsible and selfless, I did give him an average of 3.
Yeah, I was there too.
Because he does stuff on either side. Yeah. So I thought it kind of evened out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so he topped out at a 28 for me.
28, yeah. I'm at 28 too.
Stop it. Queens.
There you go. Yep. He is a solid 28 alum.
Solid 28. Well, then Roger disappointed me.
Tell me how Roger disappointed you, because I think I may have interpreted some stuff where like I might have put Pongo and maybe onto Roger.
Okay, because Pongo's great, guys. Pongo cannot be involved in this because he is a dog. But however, he is. We stand. What a king. Reading Roger for filth.
Yes.
So I give him a 17.
Give him a 17. Okay, what were your low ones?
He had 2 1s.
He had 2 1s? Okay, where? Yes. Where?
So 1 is for self-awareness or self-awareness.
That is fair.
1 for self-awareness because he has the dog has to do everything to get his life going because he is so unaware. And Pongo says that.
Okay. Yeah.
Pongo's like, I need to do this because he literally won't. He has no idea how he's living in filth. He has no idea how much time he's taking using things. He doesn't even question when Pongo changes the time so that he leaves the house. Like Pongo sets up his entire life for him. And love that for him. Love that for Pongo. What a lucky human. So I did give him a 1 because he continues that later of the persistent, please don't mock Cruella while she's at the door, and he does not listen. He is very not aware that she's being serious.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I did give him a 1 for that. And I gave him a 1 with generous with belongings and time because he's not generous with his time. He spends all of his time working. And you see that even when they live together, they do have their dog walking breaks, which love that for them.
Yeah.
But he spends all of his day working up there still. He's just moved it now to a smaller room. It's all sequestered, but there is nothing that proves that he is not. And even then he comes down as Cruella. He was still working.
Yeah.
Comes down to sing a song to mock this person who's coming to see his wife.
Yeah, like the timing. Deserves it. Yeah.
However, and then leaves to go back up to work. Not like, let me comfort you for that terrible situation. Like, gotta go back and write this song because it's great.
Okay.
So that didn't sit great with me. So he got 1s for both of those for me.
Okay. I could see that. I think I definitely projected some Pongo onto
Pongo's great. Pongo is awesome.
Yeah. And I did give him a 4 for loving. I do think that anytime he's talking to Anita, it's really, really sweet.
I only gave him a 2.
Really?
Yeah, because of the amount of times she's like, stop it. And he's like, nah.
Okay.
So I could be talked up to a 3 as an average.
I could be talked down to a 3. Okay. I can see that.
Because I was like, there's a lot of times, and even there's moments where he could compliment her, say nice things to her, and instead he just like poops on Cruella.
Okay.
It's never like, how are you after this? It's, let me write the song about Cruella de Vil because she's a witch.
Okay. I can see that.
Which also was like, I don't think you're going above or beyond. I think you're pretty average. I thought he was under average, but after your thoughts, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think he deserves less than average of caring for his wife. Okay. He is still caring. Does he go above and beyond?
Not necessarily. No. We don't have proof of that. Like there's not. Of that. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I'm at a 20 for him.
Oh wow.
So
I have nothing above a 3 for him. Is that embarrassing?
No, I just didn't go as many 1s, I think, as you did.
Yeah.
So I'm in the 3 and 2 world.
Okay. Yeah. Respectful. I give it 2 because he is just rude a lot.
Sure. He is. I gave him a 3 because of how he treats Anita after they fall into the lake. We had that moment where he is like very like, let me help you. Here's my handkerchief. Yeah. Like trying to. Yeah,
I gave him kind and honest. I gave him both 3s because I did appreciate, even though he has moments that really, I'm like, you are not a supportive human being.
Yeah.
But then he has the sweet moment with that where they fall in love, which is really cute.
Yeah.
Or like when he revives the puppy.
Yes.
I did enjoy that too. I thought that was really sweet. I loved like the man chill.
Yeah.
Where they were both like freaking out, like him and Pongo was very endearing. I was more endeared to Roger because of how he behaved with his dog than how he behaved with Anita.
That's very fair.
Which is, I think, why I was a little more harsh on him. Because I'm like, don't get me wrong, love dogs, treat them very well. Yeah. But like, you were in love with this woman and you were treating your dog better than her.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a solid Aladdin through.
Oh, yes. Aladdin still goes through. Yeah. So
someone with a 1 for me went through, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
In general.
Aladdin, diamond in the rough.
Yep. We'll see how far you go. The last one for the left side is Tarzan at the top. He has so many 5s for me, but he did get a 2 and a 3. And the rest were 5s.
Oh, yeah. So total, I only had a 31 for him.
I had 35 for him.
Which was still very, very good.
I'm very partial to him too.
I do also have a 2. Maybe, okay, on the count of 3, let's see where we have our 2. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3. Responsible.
I have self-awareness. And I have a 3 for responsible.
I have a 3 for self-awareness. Okay, so great. Same Z's twins.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. Probably for the same reasons. We just great.
I don't think he has any control or knowledge of his body or what he's doing. I could even be talked to a 1 for self. Like he just has no awareness of like personal space, who he even is, like what he's doing. Like he is so far away from self-aware. Responsible, I could be talked down to it too. Like what he's doing is playing with fire with his family.
Yes.
Like that's it's a risk that he is choosing
and he
to
knows.
take. Yeah.
He should know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those were my lowest. He only got one other 3.
Oh, what was that
for me? And that was selfless. Because I gave him a 5 for kind and honest and everything. Yeah. Selfless, it's kind of a group effort a lot of the times, or it's a need of like there are moments where he does run in the way, but sometimes he doesn't know the circumstance. Like every time he goes after the gun, he has no idea what that means.
Yeah. Like it's like, oh, he saved.
So it's like, I can't give you a 5 for that. But also a lot of the things are, like when the jaguar attacks, that's more of a life or death. That wasn't he's not being selfless in that moment.
That's fair.
Because it's also kind of his fault that it's there.
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
so, that's the only reason I gave him a 3 for selfless.
I could be talked down to that. I can see that.
But kind and honest.
Oh my God,
dude, 5 out of 5.
Yeah, generous with their belongings, constantly giving things away to people.
I did 4 for that.
I did a 5 just because the amount of time he's spending with Jane and the sharing of the birds and stuff. But I can understand. It's not.
He definitely shares stuff.
Yeah. So I could see it being more of a 4. I understand that.
I gave him a 5.
So much a 5.
He's very much loving.
Yeah.
Generous belongings and time. The only reason I didn't give him a 5 is because he makes his friends all upset because he doesn't know how to share his time.
That's fair. That's very fair. But the over-generousness to Jane.
To the one person, and you're like neglecting your friends a little bit without kind of filling them in. Because once they were in, they were fine. But still very, very high. Very high. And now Augustin?
Augustin is next from Encanto.
Augustin, he did not do as well, but still for somebody who is in very little of the movie, was great. And honestly, if we ever do a dad thing, he's also a great dad. There were a lot of really great dad moments. Yeah. He got a 26 for me. Highlights were loving. I gave him also a 5.
I gave him a 5, yeah.
The way anytime he's around his wife, puts his hand around her and is also just so appreciative.
Yeah.
How many times has she had to feed this man to keep him alive? Like so many.
Yes.
And every time he's like, yes, queen.
Yes. Yeah.
We love that. We love a supportive king. So kind of empathetic. I also gave him a 5.
Nice.
But everything else for me, because he is a little more all over the place as far as like his role in the story, he was a little more average to me. Although self-aware was too, because I'm sorry, sir. If you were not married to someone who could literally heal you, you would be disfigured at best by this point.
I do agree. And I ended up with a 26. So
great. 26 twins. Yeah. So he's a solid 26.
Yeah.
Great dad. Love the conversations he has with his daughter.
Yeah. That's really beautiful. That's where you kind of get a lot of that kind and understanding what she's feeling and trying. Yeah. I really, really good dad. We'll do an honor mention dad at some point.
I know. But alas, Tarzan, here we are. Yeah. Tarzan moves on. Yes. So just as a quick recap of our left side of the bracket, we have David going up against Felix next week. We have Pacha versus Prince Adam. Yeah. Is this more interesting? Carl versus Chang? Who knows? Finishing off.
Picturing Carl and Chang. Just like a head-to-head match.
Oh my gosh. Them in a room together would be the most uncomfortable silence.
Yeah.
The most in the best way. Like, I would honestly love to see it.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
And then Aladdin and Tarzan.
Yeah, gonna be a good one. So we're gonna move over to the right side of our bracket. And Hercules is the himbo on this side of the bracket that has made it to the Sweet 16. But the first up, this is an interesting one too. It's Prince Charming OG with Snow White. And excellent. Bob / Mr. Incredible.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Where was the OG Prince Charming for you?
Oh, yeah. OG Prince Charming. A couple NAs.
Yeah.
So he did get a 5 for loving, because does a man fall in love instantly and open his heart entirely for the rest of his life just in the moment?
That's fair. That is fair.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Is he self-aware? 0 out of 5. I mean, he got a 1 because I couldn't give him 0.
Yeah, that'd be a 1. Yep.
It was so bad I couldn't give you a 0.
Yeah.
So I gave
you a 1.
Tyra Banks.
Yes.
Responsible. I gave him a 2.
Okay.
I gave him something in this category because he did search for her for a long time. He did look for her.
That's true. That's
true. So I
true.
gave you a 2, sir.
Okay.
I gave you something.
Instead of an NA.
Less than NA. Yes. You're welcome, sir.
Yeah.
I gave him a 3 for kind empathetic.
Yeah. Same.
Because he seemed, I did appreciate how he treated the dwarves at the end and made sure they all said goodbye.
That's
and
true.
Everything. I did, I did appreciate, I gave him a 2 for respectful.
Yeah, I did too.
He kissing her was weird.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, what is
him like appearing just next to her, jumping a fence and just like being right next to her. Weird. Yeah. But I gave him a 2 because I did appreciate him, how he kissed her. He did. It was light, short, and he knelt and bowed with all of them.
That's true. Yes.
To give a nice, so I wasn't going to give you average because of your weirdness before, but better than a 1, sir.
Yeah.
Better than a 1. So Sir Prince 13 for me. How do you do for you?
15. Yeah, I think I just averaged out a couple extra things.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's still, I mean, when you are only in half of it because they don't know how to draw you.
Well, yeah, when you are purposely
really,
taken out of the movie because they don't want to draw men and can't draw men, what can you do?
Did you have a chance? I don't know.
What's interesting is Bob did not do well for me either.
No, Bob didn't do well for me either. Bob did 15. Bob got 15. So he
did?
Yeah, he squeaks by for me. But like barely, how'd he do for you?
Talk me through your look. I think I was too nice. I think I'm like, he has to be better than this.
Him and Roger disappointed me, guys.
Okay.
Selfless and self-aware for the first movie. The second movie, obviously.
Yeah, it's very different.
It's very different. For the first movie, self-awareness, he got a 1 because
I gave him a 2. So I can see that.
Yeah, exactly. Like he is just totally not understanding his situation.
Yep.
As far as what he thinks he wants to do is not what is happening. And that is frustrating.
Yep.
And then selfless, because he is selfish.
Yeah.
The entire movie. Because it's not like he's going in to save the day, to help people.
Yeah.
He's doing it for the glory days. And you know that because Frozone has a talk with him about it.
Yeah. Yep.
And when Frozone's the voice of reason, my friends, that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
So those 2, I gave him a 1. I gave him a 3 for loving.
I gave him a 4. Yeah.
So I think some things I may have been a little harder on because I do appreciate the family dynamic.
Yeah.
I know when they have those arguments because he's being a butt.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that he immediately jumps to his wife's side and is like, we're having a discussion. Everything is fine. Like, I did appreciate that. I'm not sure where that goes in this, but I do appreciate the relationship.
Yeah.
Honest, he lies like the entire movie. So he got a 2.
Well, it's like the only moment, that's why I gave him a 2 instead of a 1, is that he helps the lady at the insurance place.
Yeah. He means well.
Yeah. And I think he does good things. He does save people.
He wants to be a hero.
He enjoys helping people, but I do think the entire point of the first movie is him doing it because he wants to be a hero again. Like I give him a 1 for responsible. He puts his family in danger constantly. Yeah. Like they have had to move multiple times and he is still on the scanners.
Yeah. So I gave him a 2 only because he is very responsible in those moments with his kids.
Yeah, that's fair.
When he needs to parent.
That's fair.
A 2 is not great.
No. He ended up with a 19 for me.
Yikes.
So I don't know how that is passing. Because
it's squeaking. Because like, what did you get for?
I got a 15.
Charming? 15.
Yeah. How is he?
I have a 13. So he's not quite as tight as Hector and Adam.
Yeah.
But still.
He barely squeaks by.
Great, my dude.
But don't worry, y'all. He's against Hercules next week. So I think it's going to, he might get justice in the next round.
Yeah. I just was surprised.
Yeah. I was disappointed.
I was surprised. Yeah. And the second movie is phenomenal.
It's a whole different.
I love what he goes through in the second movie.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just that first one.
Yeah.
Well, moving on, we just mentioned him. Frozone and Prince Eric.
Yeah.
So Frozone, guys, we couldn't leave him out. Is his wife even seen in the first movie? Absolutely not.
Nope.
Did we need to include him for the one moment she is in the movie? Absolutely.
Yes, we did.
Of course we did, friends.
Yep.
Of course.
Yep.
Because that movie, that moment, where's my super suit, is iconic.
Is so iconic.
The moment.
It's absolutely
and the most quotable part of that entire movie.
Yeah.
So obviously that relationship needed to be highlighted.
Yeah, for him, he was hard because we have like nothing. But
yeah,
I gave
Lucius,
him,
Frozone, he got higher than me.
He got higher than Bob.
Or not than me. He got higher than Bob.
Yeah, I have a 23 for him, which is I think
I have a 27.
Okay. I gave him lots of averages where I'm like
Lucius Frozone. Yeah, I gave him a lot of averages. He got a 2 in responsible.
Same.
For a similar reason as.
Yep.
But he was the voice of reason. So kind of pathetic. I love that he did reason with Bob.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
And tried multiple times to be like, I know this is tough. Yeah. I really think we should tell our wives. I really think we should tell people we're doing.
Yeah.
And like he was trying to make that common ground. Or maybe we do just do what our wives think we're doing. Like, is that
why don't we
terrible?
just go bowling?
Yeah. Is that really the worst thing in the world? And so I kind of, that endeared me to him.
Okay.
I thought he is a 5 for self-aware.
That's a good point.
Mans knows exactly who he is and what he's doing.
That is a very good point. Okay, I can bump that up for him. He's one of the few that I'm like, yeah, you get what the situation is. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Loving, I gave an average of 3.
Yeah.
Honest.
Yeah.
I gave him higher than Bob because he is trying to breach that, and he does reach out to the Incredibles a lot. Also, he's very good with generous with belongings of time.
Yeah.
He does spend a lot of time with Bob that he doesn't need to do because he knows he's lying and he does it anyway.
Yeah.
Selfless. I love the amount of times he goes and saves the kids.
That's
that aren't
true.
his.
That's very true.
There's lots of moments where he like whips Dash out of the way.
Yeah.
Because they don't know. They're kids. They haven't been in battle before.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate those moments. So he did get a lot of like 3s.
Yeah. He proved something. Yeah. So with that, he's up at a 26 for me. So
same.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, same. And I could be docked down probably in a couple of these.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's very sad that he is a 26 and Bob is a 19 for me.
Is a 19.
Yeah.
Yikes. But Prince Eric, how did he land for you?
He did pretty well for me. Like he got a 2. He got 2 2s, but he did get quite a few 5s, and that can be talked down. I might have just been like, I think
we switched things around because he has no 2s or 5s from me.
Okay, so maybe we like averaged. So
I think
somewhere.
we met in the middle.
Okay. Because like responsible, I gave him a 2.
Yeah. He only got a 3 for me.
Yeah, like he doesn't make like the most responsible decisions. Even though we love the romantic side of him.
Yes, we love that.
Self-awareness, I gave him a 2.
Yeah,
but I could see
that's on the low end. I gave him a 3.
Like I could see it being a 3. I did give
He's very humble.
Yeah.
He
just doesn't really know what's going on.
But average.
Yeah, that's fair. I did give him a 5 for generous with belongings and time because all he does is give his castle.
I gave him a 4.
He gives his castle, he gives her clothes, he gives her food, he gives her time around the town he doesn't need to give her. Like,
no.
It's...
Meanwhile, the servants are like, please.
Well, everyone's begging, but no one's like ordering him to do it. He's just like,
no.
Come in my castle.
Grimsby's like, literally anyone.
Yep, for sure. Respectful, I gave him a 5. Like I mean, he never is trying to get any. He never tries to get anything from her. He always is really like.
No, it seemed very average to me.
That's fair.
There was nothing happened that was like super out of the way.
Yeah.
Maybe with the dress, how he behaved with her at the beginning and didn't
maybe that's where I was
I could bump that up a little bit.
Where he she's naked under a sheet.
Yeah.
And doesn't do anything, doesn't even
for sure.
talk about it, just as let me help you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That bumps me up to the total. I don't know if we've talked about
no, we haven't.
We've talked about something.
Yeah.
29.
It'd be 31 for me.
Yeah.
So it's It's really close.
I mean, Frozone. We need to talk about you. Now, but before you go, Frozone.
Yeah.
I did, while I was looking up stuff to see, to rewatch the movie and everything, I Googled Frozone and his wife, and there is a deleted scene that includes his wife, and you meet her. Yeah. So I do understand why they got rid of it, and I think it makes the scene funnier that they got rid of this. So the scene, you can find it on YouTube and probably on Disney Plus, I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the whole scene is you hear the attack that's happening in the city, and it focuses on her standing at their apartment window, seeing the attack, knowing her husband, going over to get the super suit. And while he's looking for it and saying, where's my wife? Or where's my wife? Where's my super suit? Yeah. And he's complaining that it was clean. It's so clean. And she was like, no, it was filthy. Yeah. She's desperately hiding it in different parts of the house.
That's really funny.
Hiding it all over the place because she doesn't want him to do it again.
Yeah.
And it ends with them face to face. And him knowing, he sees her look over it and takes it. He's like, huh. And and it's just a silly moment. So, and what they liked about it is she could be anyone if they did not show her.
Yeah.
You could imagine this strong woman.
Yeah, that's fair.
Who, as far as we know, is a regular human.
Yeah. There's
she is not is a superhero.
Yeah.
And keeps Frozone in line.
Yeah.
Which is maybe why he did better in this. Yeah. To be honest.
You know what? Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was a fun scene. So check that out. It's really short.
Yeah.
But it's still fun to see. So, yeah. But yeah, with that.
Yeah. We have the last little bit of this upper bracket. Ooh. So the first person on this is Arjun from Arjun and the Warrior Prince. Katie, where did you find this character? Okay.
So way back during the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, I knew I had seen a fleeting advertisement of the new Disney princess. And obviously I'm down. I want to see it. I want to know it. I want to love it. So I scoured the internet. But in 2020, as many films did, it got pushed back a ton. It got moved around. Lots of things happened. So unfortunately, I couldn't find anything about it.
Yeah.
So I was really searching all sorts of things. I was going through, I was pretty confident it was Southeast Asian. So I was looking up different Asian countries.
Yeah.
I was just
it was really hard to find stuff about Raya.
Trying to find stuff about it. Yeah. And in my search of different Asian countries with Disney tied to it, Arjun, Warrior Prince came up, and I had never heard of that. And I was like, oh, is this a new movie? Because if you look up the wiki, it says coming soon, but that's an old poster.
Yep.
It came out in 2014. And it was paired with a studio in India.
Yeah.
And it is a full movie, and it's a kid's movie. On Netflix, it is rated for 14.
Yeah, there's some
which is totally understandable.
In it, yeah.
Yeah, and it is very much his journey to be a warrior prince, to be a brave, strong warrior.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting to find. And I had never heard of it.
I had not either.
Surprised.
Yeah.
Because it was in the lineup of everything too. When I looked up.
Yeah.
It was in there right with all the Miyazaki films and such.
Yeah.
So I was shocked that we didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. It's very different.
Yeah.
Disney worked with them, but this was very much a love project of India.
It's a classic mythology. Tell. It's the Mahabharata in India, and it's part of it because the Mahabharata is huge. It was really interesting to watch something that was made for another country because it didn't even have an English translation. We had I watched it in subtitles.
You watched subtitles,
so it was really cool to kind of to see something that was made for a very specific audience. And so he did have a wife in that, so that's how he's been included.
Yes,
he did okay for me.
Yeah,
the biggest thing that he had a 2 for loving for me because of him being willing to let his wife be part of this bet, even though I don't know that he had the power to change anything about it. So it was a weird
that was a tough scene because he let everybody be part of this bet, and his low ones he got a lot of 3s. And something that I wrote on his sheet for me to remember as I was scoring him, because I really wanted him since I like just found this movie, it's from a different culture, and it's really awesome. Yeah. But I'm like, okay, his whole story is overcoming this self-doubt and turmoil within himself to become a brave warrior. Yeah. He is not becoming a love interest. He's not how he is beautiful. Yeah. But he is, that's not his thing. Yeah. He's there to be a warrior. Yeah. And he wants to be brave. And there are choices he makes that are not brave. And he is very self-conscious. Yeah. And doubts himself a lot, which I appreciate, but don't lend well to this. So I know that was a lot of speech for this one thing, but I just want to preface because I gave him a 1 for self-awareness, but I think
fair.
I did that on purpose because I think that's the point of the movie. I think there are moments where I could give him a 2, I guess, because there are moments that he is very understanding of some of his skills. Yeah. Like the scene where, guys, watch it. The scene where he shoots the fish.
Oh, it's awesome.
With his bow and arrow. Yeah. Is really, really cool. Yeah, that was awesome. I really like that. So he's very self-aware sometimes of his skills, but then when push comes to shove and the moment is there, he doubts himself heavily. Yeah. And he has multiple conversations with his mother and others where they're like, no, just like do it. Yeah. And he's like, but I can't. So I'm like, no, but you can. We all can see you can. Yeah. So that's why I scored him so low. I could be talked up a little bit. On self-awareness.
I was giving him a 3 for averaging out, but I think you're right. I bumped him to a 2.
Yeah. I could bump him up. Yeah. I gave him nothing higher than a 3 on these skills.
I gave him a 4 on honest moral integrity because I do think he has a very high sense of what's right and wrong, and he doesn't lie. So I do think that there's a sense of like that warrior duty.
Yes, I could see that. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to move them up. But a lot of 3s. Because there's lots of things. And it's tough too because we don't know the culture as much. I did appreciate that it is told from the point of view of someone is telling it as a story. Yeah. So I did appreciate when sometimes it cut back to the storytelling and the kid was like, what? He just like let his wife.
That was great.
Like that.
Like that.
And I was like, all right, I feel good about giving him only a 3. Great.
Yeah, because I was having the same feelings.
Me too. Yeah. Cool. So that was really, the storytelling is very interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
And the colors.
It was really beautiful. Yeah.
The animation is very interesting. It's a little bit jarring for those who haven't seen. Yeah. Like it's just this totally different style of animation. Yeah. But the colors. Yeah. I'm like, can we get some of that?
Yeah, I agree.
Oh my gosh. Everything is so bright and beautiful and vivid.
Yeah. It was really fun. I'm so happy you found that because it's a really cool thing to watch. So he ended up with a 24 for me.
23.
Okay, cool. So we're sitting in kind of the same, which is going to be kind of close with Naveen, who I think I was a little too harsh on. So like, what were your high things for him? Because he doesn't have anything above a 3 for me.
Guys, same.
Okay. It wasn't just me then.
Now, I also want to preface Naveen. Naveen, I think, is the sassy, snotty bard we love to hate.
Yes. I don't hate him as a character. He's like great.
No. He's just not a great person, but you kind of forgive it because his charisma stat is like stacked.
Off the chart.
So I did give him things that averaged out for me. We're both kind, empathetic, and then loving.
Same.
Both of those things I thought at the beginning of the story were trash. And by the end of it, Tiana had proven otherwise. Yeah. So I did give him an average because I think it averaged out because he is rough at the beginning.
Yeah. I did the same thing where I'm like, by the end, he like does.
He's solid.
Yeah. By the end, he like does give up his happiness for like Tiana to get the thing. So like I gave him a 3 for selfless because he like bound like those acts at the beginning.
Give him a 1.
Well, at the beginning he is.
I could pop him up to a 2.
Yeah, like at the beginning he is, and then like
he's
the act
rough.
of like trying to say like kiss and marry Lottie at the end for her. It's an act. Of selflessness.
He does. Yes. Okay, and he does it for her. I will give him an extra point. Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
That's the one.
I will. He is up to. Dare I say what the score is? His full score.
Please tell me what your full score is.
It is now up to a 16. A 16.
Okay, you were way meaner to him than even I was. That's great. And I think I was okay. That's awesome.
How mean were you?
I was at 21. I gave him 2s and 3s.
You were.
I didn't give him any 1s because of like
you got 2
journeys. 1s. But what was your other one?
Responsible.
You know what? That's correct.
He's not responsible at all. What is he responsible for?
You're 100% correct. Yep.
Responsible? Absolutely nothing.
Respectful. Is he actually respectful to anyone?
Like a 2? I did not give him a 1. I gave him a 2 because I don't think he's very disrespectful to all just women in general.
Yeah, that's true.
Beginning. Yeah. And as he's going along, he's very like she's pushing it. She's like we got to get this fixed.
True.
And he's, you know.
Doesn't really care.
Yeah. Obviously he wants it fixed, but he's not making anything happen because she's the doer. Yeah. Generous with belongings and time. I only gave him a 2.
Yeah, same.
Because he's not until the end. But even then, people like Adam and Carl, it wasn't the last 5 minutes of the film. Like they both had epic fight scenes and all these crazy things and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And him, it was truly just the actor deciding to kiss her and
that's fair.
Be with her instead.
Yeah, I'm 18. I've settled on an 18 at this point. Which is
what were your high stuff?
I had
he only has 2
threes.
3s for me.
I had 3 3s. So I had kind and empathetic.
Same.
Selfless, and I didn't bump it down to a 2. Like I'm set a 3 for like
I moved mine up.
Yeah,
as well.
And then loving is a 3.
I gave him a 3 for loving too, because I think and that's impressive because at the beginning of the story, truly he's a 1.
Yeah.
And at the end of the story, he's a 5.
Yeah.
Because he would do anything for Tiana.
Yeah.
And I love that for him.
Yeah.
Like
he does.
And that's
grow.
great for it's great for her because the end of the movie, I think he is so supportive of her.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you see him being that charming instrumentalist who like brings everybody down to her place to eat at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Like totally.
I am ready for the redemption of Naveen in the series. I hope that he gets redeemed.
I want to see his charm used for good, my friends.
Yes, I do hope that for him.
Yeah.
As the series comes out in the next year or so. But I think that means Arjun gets to move on.
I think Arjun goes through because even what
I had a 24. Yeah.
24. So even if we move them to meet in the middle or move up to you, it's still right.
He still wins by
still wins
by 6 for me. So
wow.
Yeah, that's a decent gap for this little category.
Sorry, Naveen, but also I'm kind of excited to talk more about it.
I know that we can talk about figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're moving on to the last 4th of the bracket where we have Flynn.
Home stretch, guys.
And Fix It Felix.
Oh my goodness, guys. When I was making this rubric, I was like, I told my husband, I said, Josh, I'm having a hard time because I really like Flynn and I'm having a hard time with this. And Josh was like, well, who's he up against? Maybe he'll be fine. I said, Fix It Felix.
Yeah.
And his exact words go, oh no.
Yeah.
He's annoyingly good. Like annoyingly so, a good person. Mm-hmm. I said, this is scary.
Yeah.
So who would you like to start with?
Well, I will say
Fix It Felix or Flynn.
Flynn is winning only by 2. So this discussion could be very interesting very fast.
Are tied.
Okay. So this is it's coming down. Oh, Flynn, don't let me down.
Tied.
I know. Let's see me. So you know what?
Yeah.
Tinkerbell got knocked out in the last
this is tough,
first
guys.
round. So what can you do? But the honest moral integrity, I averaged it out.
For who are we talking about?
For Flynn. For Flynn, yeah. Okay. I averaged it out at 3 for the journey that he takes.
I gave him only a 2 because it takes him a really long time. Like
it does
takes
take
him to the last quarter of the film, to be honest.
It does take him and
even then, it's because he's about to die. That's the only time he starts to be honest. When he's dying in the water. It's literally until he has a life or death experience with her. He's about to die and he's like, well, at least, and then he says that he's like, somebody's got to know my real name. What did you give him though? I can't remember.
Gave him a 3.
A 3. Okay.
Yeah, I gave him a 3. So it's not crazy, but kind of empathetic. I gave him
a 3.
Yeah, I gave him a 4, but I think it's probably a 3. It's really hard for me to separate who he becomes.
Yeah, it's so tough because in the series he really runs with who he is.
Yeah,
which is awesome. Speaking of running with who he is, I give him a 5 for self-awareness because he is completely in entire full understanding of who he is.
Yeah, I agree with that full-heartedly. Yeah, I think I 100% agree
5
with
out of 5.
that. I gave him a 4 for respectful. I felt like
I did too.
He was very respectful of Rapunzel the entire thing. He tries to smolder like twice and then gives up, like trying to do any like flirting or anything.
He manipulates her a bunch.
Yeah, everyone does.
I put that into like honest and stuff because he manipulates her a ton.
That's fair.
So that's why I still gave him a respectful 4, but gave his honest moral integrity down to a 2.
Yeah, okay.
Because he spends the entire first half of that manipulating her until the duckling. And then from the duckling, he doesn't have a chance to talk to her. He doesn't talk to her at all because it's just we're running for our lives.
It's him going to try and like save her. Where would you put like with Maximus? Like trying to like go and save her.
Oh, at the end?
Yeah.
I put that in selfless.
Selfless. Okay. I give him a 4 for selfless.
Yep.
Because of that. Okay.
I gave him a 4 for selfless.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't score bad for me at all. It just, I wanted him to do better than he did.
Yeah.
Like having he had no 1s, but he had 3 2s for me, which was just like, yeah, I get it because it's Flynn.
He had 1 2 with the generous with their belongings and time for me. And I think a couple of the 2s ended up with 3s. Loving I put 4, but I don't know if
same.
Okay. It's like, wait, does that?
Yeah, same. I did 4 as well.
Yeah, I ended up with a 28 for him.
26? Yeah, so we're really close.
Yeah, so it's just a couple of those 3s we might have to talk me down into. Or what was your Fix It Felix? So it was a 26 as well. I had a 27 for Fix It Felix.
And that was
Felix.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, because Fix It Felix because he is annoyingly a good guy, he has nothing under a 3 for me. Yeah,
it's 3s and then I had 3 4s.
I have 2 4s.
Mm-hmm. Which is the 1 point difference between us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. His 4 was responsible.
Oh.
4 for responsible.
Okay. Oh. I can see that.
It's a different one. Okay. Because he has a very big sense of responsibility of his game.
That's true. Is
it worth a 5?
No.
But do think that he goes above and beyond to help the game and everything. And self-awareness, I also gave him a 4 because unlike some of the other characters in the world and in the movie that you meet, he is very much, now I don't think it's a full 5, but he is very much like, this is it. This is life. This is how the games work, Ralph. This is why this doesn't work for you. This is why, and not in a rude way, which is why he didn't get anything lower than a 3 for kind, empathetic, things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just very self-aware of this is just, we are in a video game and this is kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
I didn't think that deserved like a full 5, but I thought it deserved a 4 because he seems to be a little bit better understanding than some of the other characters in the game, like Ralph. And
I can agree with that. And respectful, I think, for a 4, just with how he treats.
Oh,
I think through this talk, I think I'm at a 26 for him, and I gotta look at my Flynn. But respectful, I think a 4 for me, and self-awareness for a 4 for me.
Yeah, self-awareness is the same for 4.
Yeah,
I could see respectful at a 4.
Yeah,
because that is kind of his whole
thing.
Jam.
Yeah.
So that does move me a singular point above Flynn.
Yeah.
Just a singular point.
Yeah, that's where.
And where are you at? Is Flynn beating by a singular point? Did we just make this hard on ourselves? Did we just tie?
Flynn right now is winning only by 2.
Okay, so he's overall winning by a singular point. By 2,
just because I only have 2 4s instead of 3 4s for Felix. Now.
Right. So he is winning total points. By a singular point.
So we can circle back after going.
Would you like to circle back?
Let's circle back.
That's very
That's a very important one. And I want to make sure that we do what's correct, not what I want. So let's run through the last
I don't
few.
blame you.
Yeah. Let's run through the last few.
We only have 3 more duos left.
Yes.
So John Smith from Pocahontas and Milo Thatch from Atlantis.
Yeah. John Smith was hard for me because he's a dick in general, but he's not
and some
unkind.
Of the things don't. No, yeah. Some of the things I did give him 2 1s. He
what
got
did you get 1
me overall, just to be blunt.
Yep.
He had 20 overall.
Okay.
So selfless and loving, I only gave him a 1 for each.
You gave him a 2. Okay.
Everything else was 3s. And I gave him 3s for everything else because I don't think he did anything super outstanding.
That's fair.
To counteract the ignorance that he has to be above average.
I could see
if that makes sense. How did you score him?
I scored him similarly. I didn't give him any 1s, but I gave him 2 2s. Mm-hmm. And the rest were kind of 3s because it's this weird balance where at the end of it, he kind of does the right thing, but he just comes in so blind, but is that his fault? It just.
Right. That's why I was I feel bad giving him less than a 3 for some situations because he truly doesn't know. Yeah. But I can't give you higher than a 3 because you're an ignorant white man.
Yeah. I struggled a lot with the energy he comes into this place with, but I gave him a 22.
What was your total to start?
22.
Yeah. So we're in the same.
Yeah. In the same boat.
And then sweet Milo. For low stats, just because you'll be unsurprised by me giving this to him. Mm-hmm. Self-awareness, he gets a 2.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that may be me being nice to him.
Yeah, he just is so charmingly unaware.
Oh, yes.
He's in the Tarzan boat of just no awareness of what's happening.
Absolutely. I ended up, the 2 that surprised me was Loving for me.
What did you give him for Loving?
Those are the only 2s. 2.
I gave him a 3. Yeah, it was like he doesn't really show
anything.
I could be
He doesn't show love at all.
Yeah, it's more of a meeting of the minds with him and Kita. It's not like a
he thinks she's hot.
Yeah,
but like there aren't any tender moments between them.
Yeah, I agree.
Almost at all. And he doesn't have a lot of that either with anybody else. Mm-hmm. Whereas you see, his name just left me.
Sweets?
The medic.
Sweets.
Yeah, Sweets.
Yeah.
You see Sweets clapping people on the back and putting his arm around their shoulder. You're like, he is giving out affection like it's candy.
Yeah. You know? I wish we could have talked about him.
I know, he's great. What a supportive himbo king.
Yeah,
well, not great. Himbo. He is a medical professional.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's phenomenal. But yeah, Milo, I was a little, but I'm like, I don't know if I can give you higher than that. Yeah. Still, like, that's not terrible because I know that was kind of the point of the movie. They didn't want it to be a romance. Yeah. He did get a 5 for honest and kind.
I gave him a 5 for honest moral integrity because, like, as soon as something goes down that's not right, he stands up for it.
He's like, with his very self-awareness, is like, no.
Yeah. Did not.
But this is wrong.
Yep. Exactly.
And I love that. I love that for him.
So we ended up with a 27 for me.
Same.
Nice. Okay. Well, there you go, Milo.
27 as well.
Milo makes it into the next round.
Look at you.
Sorry, John
Milo.
Smith.
Sorry, John Smith, but also
not really that sorry.
Not really that sorry.
Yeah. Speaking of another blonde who is way better than John Smith, Phoebus is next.
Phoebus. Phoebus. 2 blondes.
2 blondes, yeah.
2 blondes. Phoebus and Cornelius.
Yep.
So excited. This is also going to be so just fun to talk about.
Yeah.
So where did they line up with you, and who do you want to talk about first?
Phoebus got just like a whole bunch of 5s for me, but I think I was too generous with him. So like, I think his honest moral integrity is stellar. As soon as he sees that things go wrong, he goes against, gets
He's
shot at.
Well too.
Kind of empathetic. I gave him a 5. I could be talked down to a 4, but like
I gave him a 4.
Yeah. It's one of like, he sees the people in danger. He wants to stop it. He treats Quasi with respect, even though it's a world in which.
So respectful. I also gave him a 4.
Yeah, that's fair. I ended up giving him 5s, but I definitely could see a 4. Coming down with that. I gave him
just does like the bare minimum of being respectful.
That's fair.
It's not like he doesn't like stand up for Quasi.
Yes, he doesn't like,
unlike Esmeralda.
Yeah, he doesn't scream justice from the rafters. But
exactly. So that's why, still above average, gave him a 4, but not anything. That's why I didn't give him a 5 for that.
I could see that. Generous with their belongings. I gave him a 3.
I wasn't sure what to do there. I gave him a 4 because I'm like, he doesn't.
There's not really a chance, but
he's not really.
But he does give dedicates time.
He does dedicates time. So maybe maybe I meet you.
I just got a 3 on it. It's
for a 3. Yeah, I can't think of why I would give him above average.
But he just seems like a generous person. I don't know.
I just want him to be such a generous person. I mean, still is still a great score I have for him. But responsible, I gave him a 3. Oh. I thought he was, as far as like his job, pretty average responsible because he takes it very casually.
That's true.
Incredibly casually.
That's true.
How he treats the soldiers at the beginning, which is why his honest moral integrity, his kindness. He's very sassy.
He is.
But selfless is what I gave him a 5 for.
I gave him a selfless for a 5. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Self-awareness, I gave him a 4. He seems to be someone who definitely understands what's happening around him and where he sits in it. I gave him a 3. Yeah, but I could probably get talked up to. Yeah. I understand that too.
Talked up to a 4.
And loving, I gave him a 4. I could see a 3 though.
I gave him a 2.
Really?
Yeah.
He only has like a couple tender moments with Esmeralda, so I guess I could see that.
And the first couple are like fighting.
Yeah, the other one's like the only time you get like super tender is when he's shot and she brings him back and there's like the pouring on the wound and he's like super gentle.
Yes. Yeah.
That I could see.
But everything else, like, it's very much you're hot and I'm attracted to you.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like super loving.
Yeah. I could see that.
Makes sense.
I could see that. I ended up 32.
29.
Great.
But I could probably bring up loving to 3 because that moment is really tender. So 30. Yeah.
Okay. So Cornelius, he's Meet the Robinsons.
Yes. So Cornelius, I gave him overall. Now this one's tough and it reminded me very much of when we put Lilo in last year.
Yeah.
Because both of these characters are very young.
Yeah.
At least Cornelius, for quite a bit of it, he is very young.
Yeah.
So there's some things that I'm like, man, I could have scored lower. He was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's some things you got to give him wiggle room. So I did give him overall a 23.
Cool.
I gave him the highest scores. He got no ones.
Yeah, me either.
The highest scores he got were kind and respectful, both 4s.
I gave him a 4 for kind. Respectful, I could be talked up to a 4 for sure. I averaged a lot of things out because it was really hard for me to like find that balance of like kid and not.
I thought the kind and respectful, I just love the way he talks to his younger self.
Yeah. That I agree
how
with that.
He does that overshoots anything that he could do.
Yeah.
Now, his responsible.
Yeah, I gave him a 2.
And selfless both get 2s. And I think both for very similar reasons, because even when he's older, generous with belongings time, he gets an average. Selfless and responsible, yes, he is really, really intelligent and building all these things and you know, being great and has a family and is a dad, but like, is he truly spending all his time? They just accept that he's just working all the time. Yeah. And that's fine.
Yeah.
And his self-awareness as a kid is just so wildly all the place, which is, he's a kid.
Yeah.
And that's like the point of the movie.
Yeah.
But like, 2s for me.
Yeah.
2s for responsible, selfless, and self-awareness for me. Everything else was 3s and up.
Yeah, I agree. So Phoebus definitely moves on, but it was an interesting watch. Like he kind of barely fits into the category, but like it's cool to to do that.
And it was an interesting journey to watch and compare that. So sorry, Cornelius, if that's your real name. It's your second name. And we're gonna end before we circle back with Christoph and Alfredo Linguini.
Christoph still did okay for me. Like I think he still, I don't know, I have such a hard time.
Christoph got a 27 for me.
Yeah, like I was right. Like
he's good.
It's a lot of averaging out of stuff. Like I think he has a decent moral compass. Like I gave him a 4 for.
Yeah, I gave him a 5 for honest moral integrity.
I could see that.
Because he's pretty, this is what I'm doing or this is what I'm not doing. And he has full conversations with Sven, which is just him.
Okay. Yeah. I give him a 5. But like, I could see that.
It's so funny because like, I feel like he wants to be that gruff loner.
Yeah.
But he's not.
No.
So he like uses Sven to like talk him out of things that he definitely wasn't going to do anyway.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
But she could die. You wouldn't let her die.
Yep.
You didn't need Sven to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, I meant
that was the only 5 I gave him.
I agree with that. Like for whatever reason I put a self-aware 5, but that's 2. That's Frozen 2 Kristoff. That is not
Frozen 2 Kristoff is a feminist icon.
Yeah.
But
that's
self-awareness. I gave him a 2 because I think what he wants to be and what he actually is are 2 entirely different people.
That's fair. I think a 3 is where I would say. So I have like a 28 for him right now.
Oh yeah.
So you know he's still pretty good. Totally, you know,
loving. I gave him a 5.
You gave him a
4.
Okay, I gave him a 3, but I could see 4.
How loving is he to Sven?
I know, that's enough.
He treats Sven just as well and beyond, and then obviously how he treats Anna.
Yeah.
Later, the moment that kept pulling my head when I was writing loving, was the way he takes his hat off his own head and carefully slips it onto her head as she's freezing to death.
Yep, that's true. That's fair.
And it just the way he does it is so tender for such a big goofy man.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, that's really, really cute. Alfredo did very average for me.
Yeah, he kind of averaged out. I did like
mid-20s, 25.
Yeah, he's at
total for me.
He's at 22 for me, but he could be lower. I gave him a 1 on self-awareness because he literally has to be puppeted by a rat, but like I don't know, like that might be really unfair.
I gave him a 4.
Oh, really?
Because for the opposite reason. I gave him a 4 because he knows how terrible he is.
You know, that's a fair point. That is a fair point.
He needs that rat because he does not know.
Yeah.
He's not worth a 5, but he totally understands he is well out of his depth.
Okay.
And knows nothing about cooking.
Okay.
And just has to lie about it the whole time, which is why he does get a 2 for honest moral integrity for me.
Yeah. That's very, very fair. I can see that. Did he have any other 2s? Were those the 2?
I only had 2 2s for him. Mm-hmm. Honest was 1, and then selfless was the other. Because it's not like he's doing anything. He never does anything too crazy. outside of just like committing to letting these rats run this restaurant.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's not like putting himself on the line super hard.
Yeah.
It's more of Remy and his family and everybody.
Yeah.
So I only give him a 2. But he did get 4s for kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
How he sits there with Little Chef.
Yeah.
That he names Little Chef.
That's
and
really
this
sweet.
movie, he can't talk to Remy. They can't communicate.
Yeah.
So the fact that he cares so much about this rat and they have a little relationship and they cannot communicate, unlike other movies where they can.
Yeah.
I did give him a 4 for that.
Yeah.
And for kind, because I think he is very kind. And he is good with Colette.
Yeah.
When they're good, he respects her.
Yeah.
He does not. He respects her entirely.
Yeah. That I do agree with that. So he ended up with like a 22 for me. So
yeah. Still, either way.
Christoph still goes through.
Christoph will go through. Alfredo, thank you for being here.
Yeah, definitely participated.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. I mean, he did better than somebody else who's gone through.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Bob.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alfredo would have kicked his butt.
Yep.
Alas. Let's round out this right side.
Yeah.
As of now, Flynn is winning by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
Is that deserved or do we need to debate?
What were Flynn's 2s for you?
Oh, yeah. He had 3 2s for me.
He has 2 2s for me. So this is where we differ.
Yeah. So honest, moral integrity.
Yeah, 2.
Because he spends most of the movie line.
Yep, I agree with that.
2 for generous with their belongings.
Agree with
and
that.
Time.
Yep. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then 2 for responsible. Because what is he responsible for? He does nothing but for himself. So
would that be more of a selfless thing?
But why? What would make him responsible? He follows nothing through.
That's true.
Except for in the last little bit of the film, he decides, I suppose I should bring it to her parents.
I think
which
I think the reason I gave him a 3, which probably isn't correct, so I can be talked to knocking it down, which doesn't help us, is in comparison to like the naivete of Rapunzel, he is the responsible adult on the journey.
And he's not
but he's not responsible. It's like he just knows how to not die.
He knows how to sneak his way out of a situation.
Yeah.
But he has no sense of responsibility.
Yeah, that's true.
Because up until literally her healing his hand, he's like, if I get that crown, she could be dead to me. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, could ditch her anytime. I just need the crown.
Yeah. So right now, Flynn is winning by 1 point for me.
Did you knock it down?
I did. So it's a 27. Yeah. 27 to 26 for me. And I think it's the opposite for you.
Correct. So I think we already said self-aware was 5 for him. Because we both agree with that, like, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a respectful as 4.
Yep, same.
Selfless I have as a 4 because of the death at the end.
Yes.
Like that's a huge,
That's huge. Huge. I agree.
Loving, I gave a 4.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have the same scores then?
Yeah. For Flynn, you have 27?
I have a 26. Is it kind and empathetic?
Yeah, I gave him a 3. Yeah.
Oh, I have a 3. Where's the difference?
Did I miscount? Oh, no, I have a 26 for him.
So Felix is winning. So we're matching on Flynn.
Yeah. We're matching on Flynn.
So we feel confident on Flynn.
Felix.
Let's move to Felix.
I think did you give him a 4 for kind and empathetic? And I gave him a 3.
No, I gave him a 3 for kind and empathetic. He has all 3s except for 3 4s. He has 4 respectful because I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
With what you said on respectful. Yeah. So I had him at a 3, but I bumped him up.
Yeah.
Responsible 4 and self-aware.
It's the only thing that I don't see him as a 4 for responsible.
That's it. Why is he not responsible? He is the one who talks to and tries to keep the game together and has to go get Ralph to make sure the game isn't destroyed.
I could see that.
But talk me down. Why is he
I don't
only
think
a 3?
My fight wouldn't. I don't think be with responsible. It's like I'm having trouble with kind and empathetic, not because he's not a kind person, but because Ralph has spent his entire life as a villain, and then as soon as he comes into the tower, he's kind of freaked out that Ralph's even there. Like he's the nicer of the group.
Yes, and he does have the sit down conversations with him, and by the end of the movie, he is like in it to win it.
Yeah,
and with his lady friend.
Yeah, so like that's where like
that's just a 3 for kind of empathetic. I give him an average.
Is Loving you have as a 3 too?
He is hysterical around.
That's true. With. That's true.
He is a mess around her in like the funniest way.
Yeah. Flynn's making it really hard for me to talk him up on anything. because he doesn't give his time or belongings for anything other than selfish reasons.
Now, Flynn, if we talked about later movies.
Oh, yeah. No, it'd be
different
fives
story.
everywhere.
That's an entirely different story.
But yeah.
And the same with the same conversation we had with Naveen. Naveen does not look good at the beginning of the movie. But at the end of the movie, it's like, yes, I want to see that. I want to see that supportive sweetheart. I want to see him getting it for Tiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we just kick Bob off? Because if Bob gets by with a 19 and Flynn gets kicked off with a 26, it's very sad. But, if we're going, we started with sweethearts, and he's just not the person you bring home to mom right away. Did you give Felix, Fix-It Felix, a 3 for loving? As well, like an average? Yeah. The only difference was you had a 4 for responsible, and that's a decent case for the 4. I can't really give you a decent case for much else other than if the selflessness of his death gives him a 5. But I don't think one act has gotten people up to 5s.
No. And if it wasn't for the thing that hooks me a little bit, that keeps me back with Flynn, is that he doesn't open up to her until he's literally dying.
Yeah.
Whereas some of these other men, obviously not Felix, like Adam starts opening up to her.
You get a whole montage of
without him, that. You get a whole thing. Whereas this is just, I'm about to die. I guess somebody knows. Now, Flynn in his heart is, I think, a great person.
Yeah.
He's just
down a wrong path he can't quite get out of.
He's finally figured out where he wants to be, and this girl's throwing a wrench and everything. Yeah. In a great way.
It's one point that we're getting so nitpicky about, but it's hard. I want Flynn to move on, but I understand these scores right now, being at 26 and 27. I don't think he was going to beat a lot of other people.
You can't see me, but I am frowning. I'm sad.
Yeah,
Freaking Bob.
Yeah, but that's you know what? I randomized this thing, which is not helpful. At all. I should have given him Bob.
That's how it goes, I feel.
I should have given him Bob or Charming, but no. It had to be Fix-It Felix that paired up with him. There's always one that gets really sad. I don't know that he would have made it super past a whole bunch of other things, but...
Yeah, I guess.
In the next category.
Him and Naveen are both, the fun, charming, baddies.
Yeah. Though, to be fair, Naveen ended up with, way lower.
way lower.
Yeah, I mean, it's just how the cookie crumbles. Sometimes you get a 22 and make it through. Sometimes you get a 19 and make it through. Sometimes you have a 26 and it's just
sometimes
not good
you
enough.
have a 15 from me and you make it through, Bob.
Yeah. Well, this kind of feels like a callback to his sweetheart when Jane took down Rapunzel in last year's Maiden Madness. So maybe it's just fitting that...
Do we need to just have a moment of silence for Flynn, guys?
I think we may need to have a moment of silence for Flynn.
This is really disappointing.
It's very disappointing.
Fix-It Felix is annoyingly a good person. His name is literally Fix-It Felix. Yeah. The entire game is him fixing things and saving people from a building that's falling down.
Yeah. He is a very supportive sweetheart. That's the whole point of our tournament. Now, if we're going for hottest guy... Flynn was literally given a hot guy meeting.
Very high up there, friends.
Yeah. So,
top tier material, guys.
That's his benefit of it. But yeah, that's, I think I hate to do it, but, he's one of my favorites. Did we have
2 1 point?
Yeah, we had a couple.
Passes? Because it was...
Adam barely beat Hector.
Yeah. Adam barely beat Hector.
Yeah. I did not see this one coming, guys.
No, it's okay. Next week we could talk about Hercules and David.
Now we could finally start digging into some of the himbos a little bit more because we didn't get to talk about 2 of them. To be fair, Milo would also have beaten Flynn, and he's who made it through the round below him. So that makes me feel a little bit better. The people on the rest of the bracket had higher scores than he did on this corner bracket.
Milo beat Flynn for me.
Yeah, and Phoebus did.
I could look at my cheat sheet. I know I moved things around a little bit. Yeah. 15 people were above him, and only 2 or 3 of those tied.
Okay, so Bob is literally...
Bob is the worst.
The worst. Bob somehow made it into the Sweet 16.
Yeah, Bob for me was one of the lowest scores.
Yeah.
Mariano had 1 point less than him.
Yeah. So that makes me feel a little bit better about Flynn not making it through, is that everyone else there was a higher competition for this section. Yes. So, well, I mean, it doesn't change how much I love him in my heart.
No.
Because we know that TV series Flynn Rider is like top tier material.
King. Yeah. King. Is he still self-absorbed? Yes.
Yes. He still keeps his flaw.
We love that for him.
Yeah. It's pretty phenomenal what they do with him. So
he's so supportive and way more open to everyone with kinder. You don't have all of the lying and the thieving.
Yeah.
That brought him down in this first one.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. He changes for the better by the end, but he's so bad at the beginning with his honesty, and he's literally a thief. Like Aladdin's a thief, but Flynn Rider is like actively stealing crowns. Yes. Aladdin is trying to steal bread to live. So, like
that's a very different.
They're different, there are different kinds of thieving happening right now. So I understand it breaks my heart, but fix it, feel it. Makes it into the Sweet 16.
That's Maiden Madness, everyone.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens. But that is round 1.
Guys, we made it through round 1. I know this episode was probably quite long for you.
It's all good.
But you guys all went through season 2, so you're used to trucking it through, my friends.
Yeah.
And I believe in you.
Yes.
Were there some surprises? Were there disappointments? Let us know. And if you are a Patreon supporter, we will be casting polls. So now that we have our next lineup, become a patron to vote to make sure that your favorite supportive sweetheart has some extra oomph in the next round, because that could make or break it, as we saw today.
Would, yes.
Oh, yikes.
Yes, it very much would. So check all that out. Check out social media for updates on things. Follow us on all the places. And I hope you enjoyed round 1. Let's see what happens in the Sweet 16.
Oh, my goodness. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Damsels in Dialogue. Join us next week to see which of our remaining 16 sweethearts make it into the Elite 8.
If you enjoyed what you heard today, you can help us reach even more listeners by subscribing to the podcast and leaving a rating or a comment on Apple, Spotify, Google, or wherever you are listening.
If you want to join us for even more discussions about all the women we covered this season, head over to our Patreon. There you can support the podcast and unlock an entire library of our exclusive after-hours video podcasts with new episodes arriving each month. You can also unlock research notes, bloopers, and more.
Follow us on social media and at our website on damselsindialogue.podbean.com. Until next time, this has been Damsels in Dialogue.
Have a nice day.
This podcast episode is sponsored by Roller Princess Parties, LLC, and is produced by Hello Out There Audio, part of Hello Out There Productions.